Thank you so much, Anita, for that. So we're here for our afternoon program. Thank you all for being here. Before we start, we'll say our opening prayer. I'll ask Elder Lawson to say that prayer first.
Our gracious Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Father, we thank you for the food you served us this morning. We've gone on break. We have resumed to come and listen to how to keep our bodies healthy. We invite your presence. Bless us as we listen, and let us pay attention and use what we will learn. We thank you in Christ Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. So as has been announced, we have a special afternoon program, and it's together with the VRA Hospital. So we have with us the resource people with us. So we have Madam Hannah and then Peace with us. They'll be leading out in breast cancer and cervical cancer. Peace doesn't like that I'm calling her, but so they'll be talking to us, and these are conditions that are preventable. So it's good that we know about it. So they'll tell us more about it when they come forward. So I'd like to invite them to join me here. So you're welcome to the Bethel S.D.A. Church.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Amen. Thank God. I asked for the language, and he said we have to miss. But I heard English, 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 English. So we take it like that. But we also miss it. I think the Gan or tree. I'm not good at Gan. So if I can get somebody to help me, since we are in the Gan area, so that if somebody can do the Gan translation for us, we'll be very happy. Thank God. I always say everything that we do, the root is in the Bible. When you look at Hosea, it says, Hosea 4:6, it says that lack of knowledge, my people perish. So it's better we get the knowledge. When we get the knowledge, it helps us to live. Just as when we study the Word of God, we can live. This month actually is not cervical cancer month. We did it in January, and we were able to contact our communities, the churches around us, but we couldn't come here. So we said no. Our people around us, we need to spread the news concerning cancer. So we are here for cervical cancer. Will someone help me with the gun, or I should go with tree? I wouldn't have a problem. Or English is okay. Somebody is doing the gun, okay. So we are here for cervical cancer. And this is how our presentation is going to be. I will do the introduction. We will ask why is it so important, it's so concerned that we need to talk about it. What actually causes cervical cancer? The risk factors. Who are those who are prone to it? And then we talk a few things about how the disease behaves that we don't say it. And it's taking our women and our young ladies away. And then we'll talk about prevention, how we should prevent it. We'll talk about the vaccine that is available that we can take. And then okay, because I wasn't hearing it, I decided to move fast. Thank you. And then we'll bring our thing to conclusion and we ask questions. I will take the first part, and then my sister Peace will also continue. We have a lot of awareness condition in the world, all because we need to know so that we prevent it from occurring. the cancer can affect any part of the body. It's not only the cervix. As I said, January has been taken as cervical cancer month, so we make noise about it. So when we talk of service, the service, not the service that we serve, but the womb, the end part of it that drops down. I can't see my projection, so I don't know. It's behind me, so I don't know where we are. Okay, so when we talk of the cervix, it is the end part of the uterus. And it's the part that when we look at it, when I say we, that is the medical people, when we look at it, we see it dropping down. And most of us, especially the women who like putting their hands up there when they are washing themselves, you normally touch the tip of it. So that is the service that we are coming to talk about it. And the cancer affects the cells of the cervix, the end of the womb or the end of the uterus. That is where the cancer affects. The cervical cancer mostly affects the women. The men don't have cervix. It's the women who have cervix because they carry the babies. So they have the cervix. And this cancer, when we talk of cancer, it's a virus. We'll soon deal with it. It's that cancer that will affect the DNA of the cell in the cervix. So when it happens, gradually you will not see. Before you notice something, it is danger. Cervical cancer is one of the most preventable conditions if we decide to check regularly. Every cancer, when it's seen early, it can be treated. If it's delayed, that is where the problem comes in, and it's very expensive to handle it. 2020, it has been estimated that 89,800 women were diagnosed, just 2020. And these women who were diagnosed, 47,500 women died out of that disease. If it's something that like hypertension, you can easily complain of certain things that it can be detected. If it's diabetes, where your sugar can easily go up, that can be seen. The cervical cancer is not like that. Before you realize, you are in the soup. So the only thing you can use to protect yourself is early detection. I talked about the womb or the uterus. We have fingers, or the womb has fingers, and the end of it, you have the ovary. So that is where they say the coccia or the egg will fall for it to be propelled into the uterus. When you don't get pregnant, it comes out as menses. At the end of it, where you see the shaded thing, that is where it has been affected. The cancer has affected it. And we have a normal cervix. The next slide. The normal cervix is so smooth, so nice, and there is nothing there. That is our normal cervix. That's what we see there. It's very healthy. You don't see anything happen to it. We have a normal cervix that you show. Those who have delivered and those who haven't delivered, we have everything here. So you see the clear part. Some of them had delivered, so there's a slit in the end, the cervix ox. That is how the awodeno ano etsie. The commonest gynecological cancer is the cervical cancer. We've heard about gynae, and I'm going to the gynae. I'm going to attend gynae. We call gynae. The commonest condition there is the cervical cancer. And when we take the cancer of the woman, the breast and the cervix is the second most common cancer that affects the woman in Ghana here. Internationally, research was done and it was realized that 30 per 100,000 women become a victim of this condition in Ghana. And 300,000 women die out of this condition.
What is going on is a normal cervix. Normal cervix. I'm showing you.
I should continue. Okay. So, that is the normal cervix that is going around. You see how beautiful it is, even when you deliver. It is so smooth. It doesn't give us any problem. But the moment the virus, the cancer virus gets into it, we are in trouble. Why is it so important that we have to talk about it? We are saying that 24 per 100,000 people die out of it. And globally, as I said already, people are diagnosed of it. What causes cervical cancer? We all know, we've heard about HIV. The virus, we have numerous thousands of viruses. And each and every virus, we have named them 1 to 1,000 plus. And when we identify them that this is what is causing the problem, we give it a name. So we have the HIV that we call human immunovirus. That is what causes the HIV. It's not causing AIDS, it's HIV. So somebody can have the virus in him or her. That doesn't mean he has AIDS. It's like we're sitting here, if we are to run a test, we see malaria gametes, malaria X in us. That doesn't mean we have malaria. We don't have malaria. Likewise, HIV. The thing is, when your immune system goes down, you get into trouble. And this virus that causes the cervical cancer or get into the DNA of the cervix or the cell in the cervix is called human papilloma virus, HPV. This human papilloma virus will attack the DNA of the cell of the cervix and then begin to create problem there. When we mention cancer, it's a Greek word. I will translate it as crab, koto, and anti. And what the cancer does it, God has made our body in such that I always relate it to blocks. The way when we are building, we put them nicely to follow. That is how our cells, the body in us, they are always going under mutation, changing, building themselves. So when there's a problem, the cancer cells affect them. They cannot do their normal things, so they go, hey, just disturbing and destroying things. So they go basa, 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 basa. That's how the cancer cells behave. So they destroy the mucosal cells. As I said, they get into the DNA cell and start destroying it. That is the virus we are talking about. Can you move to the next slide for us to see there? That's the DNA, so this one, they get into the cell, the DNA, and then destroy it so that they can take over the cells and create problem. Kindly move on. Okay, so this is the virus. We also, when the COVID-19 came, we demonstrated these are the virus, that is how they behave. We give them nice picture, they are beautiful, but they are dangerous. Let's move on. So the virus will cause so many infections. And surprisingly, because of the way this HPV, or the human papilloma virus, how we get it through sex. So now it has been added to the STD, the sexually transmitted diseases. The sexually transmitted diseases, no more only the gonorrhea and then the HIV and those things, but now the cancer of the cervix, the man can carry it and give it to the woman. The women don't give it. It is the men who pick it from one area to the another. So research has shown that men with multiple women can easily transmit the disease to other people. We can have the cancer in the mouth and all over. So we are moving on. The HPV, as I said, has been added to the sexually transmitted diseases, and it's very common. You can have it within 1 to 2 years. Your body can wear it off. If your immune system is very low, I'm not a slow talker, but because they are translating it, so I'm trying, forgive me. It looks like I'm being too slow, but I'm managing. I hope it's okay for us. Okay. So the body is able to clear it within 1 to 2 years. That is when you have a good immune system. Your body can fight it. I'll relate it to the HIV once again, because those days when we get HIV, we say we have to check and see the virus, the load in you, and then before we put you on treatment. Now it has stopped. Now when you see that we start the treatment. Likewise this one. So when we see it, we will not waste time. This is how it will do. We have numbers, the HPV 16 and 18. That is one of the viruses that will cause cancer. And when they cause it, this is, I don't know, yeah, that is how they will behave on the uterus. So when you see the cervix like this, it will definitely not be smooth. Anything touching it will create problem. You will bleed. You have pain. And when it is affected by the virus 11, the what? I don't know. It's a growth, small growth. The what? Yeah. Yes. We have a picture here. Hardly do you see it. Those of us who do the examination down there is when we see, and then the men always keep it. But at times you can have what in the mouth. But this is how it is. It's very small. When you touch it, it's like sea sand. Cauliflower, yes. When you look at the cauliflower, that is how the what is. And the 11, that is HPV 11, that is what it does. And if it's not treated, so this one, it is not only the female, but the male also can have it on their genital.
So please, that's the what? We have some here too.
So he's showing the pictures. I'll pause more, and then when he's done, it can affect so many areas of our body. So we are saying that, however, if this HPV 11 is to continue persistently, it can develop to cancer. It can develop to cancer. So if you get it frequent, you are at risk of getting the cervical cancer or getting a cancer at that particular area that the what is found. Ideally, the cancer, cervical cancer, will not give you any sign or symptom. It will now tell you, my waist is paining me, my body is paining me, I'm getting temperature, I can't see well, I have pain in my throat, I have this. No. It will not give you any sign, but it is there. The typical symptom that you normally see is bleeding. So the menopausal women, those who have finished, who have ended their menses or their period, are elderly women who are above 50, or some people can do it as early as 35. If you cease bleeding for one continuous year without seeing a spot, and just after the 1 year, you start seeing blood, kindly go to your doctor for screening. It's better you move than waiting that, oh, I'm too young and I've stopped bleeding for some time and now it has started. The menopause will come 3 months, it will cease, 2 months, it will cease. It will be doing that continuous for 1 to 2 years, and then it will go off totally. After 1 year, if you don't see anything, just after you have gone off for some time and you see bleeding, kindly move to your doctor for examination. And then anytime you meet your man, you'll be complaining, kindly go for checkup, because it is not normal. You have discharges, discharge that is very offensive. The odor is so bad, you need to follow it up persistently. And then some of the discharges, you see blood in it. Kindly follow and see your doctor. The pelvic pain, we call it waist pain. I have a very bad, severe waist pain because our uterus is in the pelvis. It's in there. That is why when you want to go and take a scan, the stenographer will tell you, go and drink water. When you take a lot of water and you feel like passing, it will push the uterus up. So it is down there resting at the back. It will give you pain. So these are some of the things that normally when we see, we'll tell you, go under screening so that it will be detected what is actually causing the problem. We said the HPV or the human papilloma virus, when it attacks the DNA of the cervix, your body can fight it, so you can be free. However, if it persists, persistently, you expose yourself to it, it will turn to cancer. So our body is always fighting for, but not just you live like, I'm just eating anything anyhow. My sister will handle that, so I won't go into deep. But you need to build your immune system so that you can stand against some of these infections. So the risk of HPV infection and the persistency is what can lead to cervical cancer. But your body can as well fight it if you don't leave it there. The risk factors of cervical cancer is early children or people who are exposed to early sex. I think this week is when we heard about a 9-year-old impregnating, I think, a 9-year or 8-year-old child this week. So things are happening. So if a child is exposed to this as early as 9 years, look at the time he will get to 20 years. So please, let's try and avoid it. And then if you have multiple sexual partners, you can also be exposed to it. And if you have unprotected sex, somebody walked in and said, I want to have family planning, a young lady. So after interrogating, I asked her, what are you afraid of? Is it a pregnancy or the HIV or the hepatitis or the cervical cancer? You just looked at me, you couldn't answer. Because you think you are protecting yourself against pregnancy. But these three that you cannot do anything are waiting for you and they are staring at you that you can't do anything. So we need to protect ourselves. The best thing we tell ourselves is abstain. Be faithful to your partner. And if you can, use condom. We will talk about it. Another risk factor for persistent is smoking, which we are Christians, so we don't do. And then our immune system. If you're someone who has HIV in you, you are at risk of getting it. And then always those of us at the other side of the world, everything they push it on us. Low socioeconomic factors. Because of poverty, we can't eat well. Because of poverty, we starve ourselves. So the thing is, our immune system are always down, and then we tend to get these conditions. So I will end here, and my sister will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Auntie Hannah. She's my boss at VRA Hospital. That is very insightful. I would like to ask some few questions. I want to know if you are following before I continue with mine. Can I go ahead and ask? Are you all ready? Were you listening? Oh, okay. So can anybody tell me the cause of cervical cancer or cervical cancer? Early sex. Very good. Early sex is a risk factor for you to get cervical cancer. Thank you, Mommy. Multiple. Oh, Mommy is saying all. She was the only one listening. Multiple sexual partners. Very good. Is that all? The HPV. Very good. So HPV. So the main cause of cervical cancer is HPV. Is that all? HPV. Please, did you hear the part that she said that you can be infected with HPV, but you still not get the cancer? Did you hear that part? Okay. So it's not only the HPV, but when the infection is persistent, so that's what we'll be taking home today, is persistent infection with the HPV. That is what will cause the cancer. We have people who have strong immunity. You eat well, you sleep well. Now, because of phones, mobile phones and social media, people don't sleep well. They sleep around 12 and wake up at 6 or 5:30 to go to work. We need to sleep well, both men and women, to build our immunity so that even if the HPV, the virus comes, you say that no, this body is too strong, I can't stand it, then it will flash it off. Then you are good to go. Please do get us. Okay. Now, we are come to talk about the preventive measure, but we'll ask ourselves, why are the men also here? The cervical cancer, does it affect only women? Is it only women that it affects? Yes. So it cannot affect a man. It cannot affect a man. Oh, okay. So this is new to all of us here. The reason why we are all here is because the cancer that affects the cervix can equally affect a man. We have pictures here. So we can have cancer of the throat. When was it the president or vice president? He used to be the vice president and later became the president of Ghana. John Evans Atta Mills. He had a throat cancer. Do you remember? Okay. So that throat cancer that he had, it could be any other thing. This cervical cancer, the HPV can get to your throat and you have a throat cancer. When she was mentioning, she said it. This same cancer, you can see a picture of somebody's finger. There was a woman coming to the hospital every time. She had a small inflammation. If I say inflammation, it's like a ball on the fingernails. So we thought it was caca, as we all say. You all know caca. So we were treating her, we were giving her antifungal medication and all that. For so many months, it was not going. Then it started ulcerating, like what we are seeing there. Nobody thought of it, that it could be HPV virus causing that finger to ulcerate. Then we said, okay, then let's check if she has any, because if you're having any ulceration, your immune system can be low. So let's look at all other things that could cause low immunity. And we all know that HIV can cause low immunity, cancer can cause low immunity. So because she's a woman, we'd have to do breast examination and see if she doesn't have any lump in the breast. We checked, she didn't have any lump in the breast. The doctor said, okay, then let's check the down part. But because the down part is a private part, most people don't talk about it. Whatever is down there, they hide it. And in Ghana, most of our married couples, we have intercourse in the dark. People are shy because of our cultural practice, so you can't go and take off everything for your husband to be looking at your private part. So a lot of women are having so many things down there, but nobody knows apart from themselves. And they feel shy to come out with it. So the woman was serving something like this. So she was serving something like this here. It started like this. So all these pictures are real pictures. People that we've taken care of. What we've seen. It's not as if we had it from the net or anything. This one is really practical pictures that we've taken care of. We've treated some of them. Some of them died, unfortunately. So the woman was serving something like this. This one is the warts. That one, the HPV, the 6 and 11 can cause the warts. Once you're having things like this down there, it's reducing your immunity. So your chances of you getting the pre-cancer that can cause the cervical cancer is very high. Then she was scratching it. Small. So when she's going to bath, then she'll scratch it. Not knowing it was, the HPV was picking up on the fingernail. So you can just imagine, you might not have sex with somebody having the HPV. You are just innocent. You might come into contact with something like this. Somebody can be having all these things under her. You might not know. She'll go and use the washroom. They said the 99.7% of cervical cancer is caused by sex. But let's ask ourselves, what about the 0.03%? What is causing that? There was a study on nuns. Do you know nuns? Roman sisters. The number of people that came up with precancerous cells were even more than the ordinary people. So you ask yourself, what happened? So that is the reason why we've all cast our mind back on, no, we shouldn't make it as if it's only people who are sexually active or people who are promiscuous. They are the ones getting the cervical cancer. It could happen to anybody. So if you see somebody going through the treatment, you don't say that, oh, this woman is promiscuous, that's why she's having cancer. What of the man who had the cancer of the throat? What if he was having oral sex and the wife or the partner might have one of these lesions over there? It could happen to anybody. What if your finger, we have different ways of having pleasure, you will not tell anybody. What if you use your fingers? The man can equally get it. What of the anal region? What of somebody having all these things down there and going to use the washroom? You will not clean the toilet seat. You just use the toilet roll. The toilet roll doesn't contain any disinfectant. So you think that you are good to go. So you just clean it casually and sit on it. What if the person who used it was having all these things down there, but the person hasn't reported? Then you also go and sit on it. You can pick those small stuff, even though it's 0.03. So we are assuming, we are not going to say that the Roman sisters, the nuns, they were having sexual intercourse, but we are assuming that the 0.03%, those people had it from that. Please, you get it. So the cervical cancer, HPV is for everybody. But unfortunately, the HPV, when it gets to the cervix, only a woman who has the cervix. So definitely, when a woman is getting a cancer in the cervix, then we know that it kills women faster. But it can kill men too. So the vaccination, when you go to other countries, that's the preventive measures. That's what I'm come to talk about. We have young boys. If you have the money, if you have the means, they vaccinate against it. Not because they think they might have it. One, it can prevent themselves from getting maybe future cancers of the throat or any part of the body, or them giving it from one person to maybe their future wives. Please, you get it now. Okay. So now let's go to the preventive measures. I'm sure people have heard from the radio, social media, and I'm sure people have come to your way one way or the other in the form of health talk to tell you about cervical cancer. Can anybody tell me how to prevent it here? And already my boss has mentioned some of the risk factors and what can introduce you to get cervical cancer. So if you know what can cause, then how do we prevent it? Can you tell me? Abstinence, correct, for 10 points. Okay. Then what again? Is that all? Oh, she mentioned so many things. Mahana, your people, they said they were not listening. Oh. If you can't mention, which is you were not listening. Faithfulness. You said the ABC. Faithfulness. And then take the vaccine. Oh, this one day, I'm sure she was a science student. She has gone ahead of everybody. The vaccine, very true. Then what again? Have you forgotten about the immunity? How to build your immune system? Yes, so how do we build our immunity? She said that if you smoke, it can cause it. Then what again? You have to eat well, sleep well, do all the things that will make you build your immunity. Yes, so we have the primary prevention, we have the secondary and the tertiary. So when we talk about primary prevention, it's basically you not having the disease at all, but you don't want to get there. The World Health Organization is saying that by the year 2030, we want to be able to vaccinate all girls up to the age of 15. 90% of all girls should be vaccinated against cervical cancer. Then 70% of people, of women, should be screened to see if you have precancerous cells or not. Then 90% of people who have been screened and we've seen that they have the cancer, we are supposed to treat them. So primarily, we have primary prevention, secondary and tertiary. Primary means you don't even go there at all. We don't want to get the cancer. So what can we do? Daddy here said, abstinence. Very, very good. You have to abstain from sex. Early, mommy from the beginning, she said early sex or multiple sexual partners. So under all these things, we talk about lifestyle modification. You have to modify your lifestyle. As Christians, how are we supposed to live? We don't even want to go there about this sexual immorality and all that, but we know that we are not supposed to do that. If you have a partner, you stick to one partner. So if you can't do all these things, at least you can screen. When you don't have the HPV virus in you, then you get a vaccine. Vaccination. They had a vaccination, it's like a polio vaccination in Liberia. It was free for everybody. But in Ghana here, it's very expensive. So a lot of people are not going for it. A man can go in for it as well as a woman. But because the cervix is part of a woman's body, we are advocating that all women should go and have their vaccine. Then we go to the secondary prevention. What does it entail? We want to see if you have it. Whilst we are walking, nobody knows what is down here. And my boss said that it's asymptomatic, which means you don't even see the symptoms. If you are seeing bleeding, if you are seeing abnormal vaginal discharge, purulence, the smell is bad, foul smelling discharge, which means you've gotten the cancer. That is the end. We don't even want you to get there. So as I'm standing here right now, I'm not having bleeding, I'm not having any bad smell or any bad odor, but I could be having a precancerous cells. So the only way you can see whether you are having it is to do a proper screening, get to where the cervix is, and see if there is something over there. How would you know? You can wash down there, you will not see anything, you will not see any growth like all these growths that we are talking about. But unless you come to the hospital, we apply something we call acetic acid. It's like just the vinegar we use to prepare our salads. But this one is prepared in the lab. We apply it there and see that is there going to be something like a whitish substance, just like these ones. So those white patches, the first picture we showed was the correct or normal cervix, where the pink, everything was pink. But if you start having white patches and the colors are changing, then you should know that you're having precancerous cells. It could be anybody, mind you. Let's put it in mind that even the nuns, when we did the virus test, the human papilloma virus, we had so many of them coming out with being positive for the HPV. So it could be any of us here. The only difference is that maybe you have a strong immunity. So with time, it will clear out. But if you don't have a strong immunity, anything might happen to you. It will just grow, become precancerous, and becomes cancerous. So the secondary prevention is that even if you have the precancer like what we have here, we have things that we can do to help you. We have ablation, we'll scoop that part off, then it will heal again and become normal like the way it used to be. When we scoop it off, we'll take it to the lab and see, is it cancerous? If it's cancerous, then we'll see what we can do. Maybe we have to take all the cervix away so that it doesn't go to other parts of the body. If we realize that it has gone to other parts of the womb, that we call the uterus, we'll take all the womb away. After all, when you get to a certain stage, you've delivered. Maybe you have your children. Why do we still keep it there? We just take everything away to keep you so that you're able to live for a longer time. Please, you get it. So, in summary, I've spoken about the primary prevention, the secondary, and the tertiary. The tertiary is that when you have the cancer or the precancerous cells, we'll treat you. The secondary is you come into the hospital. Let's check you, open up, and see. We'll apply the acetic acid and check if there is any precancerous cells. If there are precancerous cells, we treat as immediately as possible. Please, are we there? So now, in conclusion, from today, we know that HPV can affect both women and men, but more specifically, it affects women because we have the cervix. So that's why we have the cervical cancer. The number one cause of cervical cancer is the human papilloma virus. We have the high risk one. So if you're having persistent infection with this human papilloma virus, that is when you get the cervical cancer. Then when you have the WAS is also caused by HPV, but those ones are low risk. The number 6 and number 11, they are low risk. So that one, it doesn't really cause cancer, but it gives you things like this. And that one, we are supposed to give you a small operation to take all these things off. We can even use some medication if it's not too severe to clear them off. Then we talk about the vaccination. Both of us are coming from VRA and we are looking at our catchment areas. You are just close beside us. You can come, you can pass through any time of the week from Mondays to Fridays, especially Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our gynae sessions. You can just come in and say you want to do screening for cervical cancer. We'll check it. If you don't have it, we'll tell you that, oh, this is how your cervix looks. So you can even take a picture. It's part of medicine. If you don't want it, fine. There is a machine. We could call it colposcopy. Now we have a mobile one. We take the picture and show it to you. And you see your cervix, whether yours is the normal one that we are talking about, or whether you have these things on it. If you don't have it, you and I will see it. They will know that, okay, there is nothing there. So as you are going, go and protect yourself. If you want to go further, we can do a test. That's HPV test to see if you have the virus. If you have the virus, there are two things involved. It's either it clears off, or when it becomes persistent, that is where you can get the cancer. So if you have the virus, we'll give you, if yearly you are supposed to screen, we'll tell you. If you are not supposed to screen, depending on how your cervix looks like, we'll advise you and encourage you to come for screening so that you don't get the cancer at all. Please, I hope we are all there. We are all on the same page now. Okay. So thank you very much for your attention.
Questions? Questions, suggestions, additions and subtractions?
Yes, it is. The price, oh, okay. We have the gather cell. It's supposed to be 900 cedis and above.
The prevention, the vaccination we talk about, and the screening. The VIA, that is the visual inspection with acetic acid. That one is 50 cedis. And that one, when we do and it's negative, we urge you to do it yearly, because we'll give you a slip to show that you've done it and it's negative. If we look at it and we are not satisfied with the way the acetic is showing us, we talk about pap smear. Most of us have heard it. pap smear ranges between 250 to 350. Depends on where you go. Okay. Then the vaccination, the drug itself to inject you. If you have been exposed, I say if we all understand when we have been exposed, yes, if you are active, we'll do the test first. See that there is nothing in. And that one, currently we have for 16 and 18, right? So it covers 16 and 18. It's 900. That one is 900. That is why we say it's expensive. Even here, they subsidize it for us. So that is why WHO is saying that get screened, get informed, and get vaccinated. So the vaccination is last. So get the knowledge, do the ABC, that is abstain, be faithful, and then use condom, which only God knows our hearts. Okay.
Yes, Madam, I would also want to ask, many of these things, it appears that blacks have a predisposition. Is this one of them? We know that for the men, our, whatever it is, blacks have a predisposition to getting it. Is it the same thing that with the cervical cancer, black people have a predisposition to getting the cancer? Thank you.
Please, let's add the other question in there.
We've just learned that women are at risk of having cervical cancer. We have children also. I just want to find out if they are also at risk.
Okay, so we said that for the vaccination, we are giving the children from 9 to 15 years. So let's say 9 to 14, because we are assuming that they might not have sex within that time. But in modern times, anything might happen. Children can have premarital sex. So if we are defining children, we are a bit skeptical, because things that people at the age of 13 might do, you might not be sure. So if you vaccinate all of them, we are assuming that they don't have. But we've had instances where we've had teenagers who were pregnant, who have delivered, and we had the screening. We realized that their cervix, what we showed, it looked more, when we applied the acetic acid, it looked more like somebody who had delivered like 3. Which means those people have been having constant sex that we might not know. So for us, we can't really say anything. When you come and we screen you, even if you are 14 years, you've delivered, we'll have to screen you. But if you have not, we give you the benefit of the doubt that you might be a virgin. But we have counseling too. We talk to them. Sometimes the things that they might not tell you, they tell us, because they don't know us from Adam. And we have a way, we've been trained. So we come down to their level, we talk to the teenagers, they open up to us. When we realize that you're active, we'll screen you. Yes, and with the cervical cancer, Caucasians, those are the whites, they have low risk of getting cervical cancer than the blacks. Most of the cervical cancer is being, the blacks are really affected by the cancer. I wanted to check the percentages in our slides. I'm not really sure, so I wouldn't want to say anything.
10 times ours, 10 times.
It's what?
10 times ours.
Okay, so it's 10 times.
So
We are 10 times higher getting infected with cervical cancer. The studies didn't go further to tell us that maybe it's because we are black or white. Maybe it could be because of the low socio-economic factors that we have, because the whites normally go for screening, they go for prevention. But in Ghana here, if somebody is talking, I can bet you, most of you have not been to the hospital when you were not sick. Do you go to the hospital when you are not sick? You don't go. Oh. The only time you attend the hospital is when you are really sick. Even if you are having headache or whatever, you go to the pharmacy and buy drugs. We like over-the-counter drugs, so we don't normally do preventive treatments. But I'm sure that if more often we come in when we are not sick to check, we might detect these things early on, and it will not advance to the last thing for us to be part of the number of people that get cancers, for us to be part of those research. Please, are we good to go?
Aside we not going to the hospital, we see our low socioeconomic effect. We are poor. The way Africa they see us, how many of us can afford what we want to eat? Even though we grow, now our aged people were eating well than us. They were eating the greens. And then we've helped them to destroy us, spraying our things. So our food, we have spoiled it. So we cannot now compare ourselves. And most of the things, they put it on us because we are poor.
You've lived up to about 70 years. You haven't had this cancer. Can you have it after 70 years?
Let's add our madam's question to it.
Okay, I wanted to find out, given that you've done your due diligence, you've checked, and then you've taken the vaccine, does that guarantee that you wouldn't pick the virus? Or would you have to be doing your tests regularly after that?
Okay, so I even wanted to talk about the aged. Once you are aging, your immunity comes down. So it's very important for our elderly mothers to come around to do the screening. We need them around to give us advice. We don't want them to die early, even though they are old. So just for the fact that you are old, you are at risk. So please, you have to pass by and do the screening. And she said that when you get the vaccine, is it automatic that you don't get the HPV? We have so many hundreds of human papilloma virus, but the high risk ones, we have more than 30. So we have the 33, 31, we have the 45, 16, 18, so many of them. But the vaccine that we have right now is protecting. We have different types of vaccine. We have the 4. The quadra it protects against 4 HPVs. That is the 6, 11, 16, and 18. We have one that protects against 9, the nonavalent. It protects against 9 viruses. So if you are even going to get a vaccine, you still have to protect yourself. It's not because you have the vaccine you are going to live a promiscuous life. But from the research that we've seen, most of the HPVs that causes cervical cancer is the 16 and 18. So at least the vaccine that we have covers the 16 and 18. But that doesn't guarantee we might be dead, just like the way coronavirus came. We all knew about common cold. All of a sudden, we said there was something called coronavirus. So we might not know which of the virus will come up and say that this is the one causing most of the cervical cancer. But for now, the research that has been done, it shows that it's the 16 and 18 that causes most of the cervical cancer, and the vaccines protect against the 16 and the 18.
I want to add a little to our mom's one. I'm aged. The virus can be there for 10 years without showing anything if your immune system is okay. So the slightest, as he said, aged, your immune system is low. The pregnant women, the aged, and then under 5. These 3 group, their immune system, there's always query. So it can be there for 10 years without anything. If your immune system drop, it will pick up. And then Our Lady also, from what he said, I want to add a little that, can we skip it? That is why we are saying that when we do the visual inspection, we do that one yearly. Every year we do check it. So when we do it yearly, we'll definitely catch you. We won't let you go. We'll definitely get you. So we'll protect yourself. It's better to get the vaccine and rest. If you don't have the money, we'll do the yearly test for you, the inspection and then the test for you. There's a little I can add. Any other question? Yes, ma'am.
Madam Pacho, Mrs. Samu Kakra.
Oh, to make us.
Pacho, I said, 3-4 years ago, sir, we cervical cancer checky. I'm saying, me call checky be or reach. At the police hospital. Madam, 3 or more nurses in this 3, you know. Me won't be that. Mean to me, can you American man explain at you? I'm saying, I will do it to me to make. Pacho, and would the end to say, Name Pacho. Send your mother, sorry, say me, I sure some sorry. Want to me organize say, and they are sorry her. More baby, ye will have my. If I'm sorry, as I may buy hospital, maybe who are now mean to me, but now, yes, and I say, I saw so be a come so be any bedroom, Mr. Sanya, experiencing to me. Though a hammy, it is some by a Samaya, Miss many bedroom. I am Patron, I am I send this army.
Me pachobi wa sembi or Rebecca. Okay. You can ask how who add.
Is it the church houses you have visited, or you have visited the townships also?
We went to the market. The market actually we set up, but the woman didn't come for us to talk to them.
At Osu Market.
Osu Market. But
And
we've been to the several. Several. We just don't want to. We've been there. They said they want to beat gong for the women to come on 2 occasions. They've taken money. Nothing was done for us. We went there. We mounted canopy. They didn't come. But the churches, we visited the churches, not the homes.
The reason why I'm asking all these things, most of the people in our townships, most of them are very young girls. And what I've realized is that they use herbs. They normally use herbs to cause abortion. They put it under their private parts. And I just want to know whether such things also can cause the cervical cancer.
Thank you. Once you, let me pick it from your area. People put all sorts of things down there. When I was talking, I said the body always fights against itself, and mutation is always going on. This thing is a virus. It's not just anything. A virus, and it's moved from human being to human being. But what they are doing can also lead to something else. If an ulcer occurs down there, virtually it will lead to something else. Since they are promiscuous and they keep on putting themselves into it, anything can happen. Mom said, we wish we would move our things to this place to do. We have a special bed for these things, and many people walk in the hospital to do a lot of things. It's our mind. My health first. And when you come in, we've set a whole unit for that. So you walk in, and if you want to come and you don't want anybody, you can use any of us, our name. Auntie Hannah or Peace. When you see me, we'll know how to go about it, since you don't want anybody to know. But when you walk in and said you want to see the gynecologist, so many things goes on at that place, and it can be handled for you. Health first. He said, we don't screen ourselves yearly. Ideally, if we will have money, 6 months will be best. We don't do it. But if we can plan for our lives. Ghana here, I don't know, some of the insurance has even started doing insurance for your medicals every year. But you yourself, you can plan for your life and then screen yourself and your wife. Let your wife and yourself and your girls come for us to screen them. The visual inspection is 50 cedis. So you can walk in. So, Mom, unless there's something that we can move, then we say we have a greater number. Because moving the bed, we have a special bed for that. You know, the one when we are delivering, we use We have a bed for delivery. That is what we use. So moving that bed is not easy. So anybody who wants to come in, you can use my name. When you come on, I'm looking for Auntie Hannah. The moment you add the auntie, we are 200. But when the auntie, they know they are coming to the one he's standing here, they will handle you for that. So you can talk to your young ladies, your wives, and then they can come.
Okay, so I want to tell you that we were able to organize some of the screening for some of the S.D.A churches. So it depends on your health team. You can collaborate with the VRA Health Services. Then if your health team is ready, we can come in and bring our staff, but it will be at a cost. So we just have to collaborate and subsidize some of the things for you, then we can be able to do it. It's just unfortunate you went to meet people who were laughing. That was so unprofessional of them. But when you come to VRA, it's a different story. Please try us one of these days. Maybe it could be other places, this or anything, but for my department in VRA, I know that we are exceptional. When you come, you see it for yourself. You can come there at any time. Just 50 Ghana. It's just the same way they charge at the Ridge Hospital. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to check, ask whether the men can also come to check. Or, Number two, like you said, you have said something about it, but the truth is that I believe you must, when you meet, because I believe you meet as a team, you need to educate your other nurses about it. Because if I come and such a thing happens, I may tell others about it, and they will not feel happy coming, or they will feel reluctant coming to check, because nobody would like to be embarrassed. And so I think we need to check on that.
Well, I think you mentioned going to the market, and the market women were not coming. It is something that maybe is the idea behind it. Just like going to set up a point, inviting people to come for HIV screening. You won't get them. And it will take a lot to overcome this. I'm going to suggest that the area around the castle, we have a lot of young girls active in sex. Just yesterday, I was told a 14-year-old, I believe was defiled, but they are using the word rape, is pregnant. And when they wanted to know who was responsible, she has mentioned about 8 people. These 8 includes somebody and their father. So if we have certain things happening there, they will need your assistance. They are not so much, they don't have shame, I would say. I'm amongst them there. I see them always. So they will come out and then check to prevent further occurrences. Thank you.
Thank you. Daddy, thank you very much for your suggestion. I think we've been to Osu Secondary School, Presby Secondary School. We were at the school too. The market, the feedback we had from their leaders is that if we had told them that we wanted to add food to it, they would have come in their numbers. So we are planning for that. So we are looking for sponsors so that we can do that. So Daddy, thank you very much. Our young ones these days, I don't know, the social media is teaching them a lot. Are we teaching them, or is the social media that is teaching them? So a lot are going on. We have a lot to do as parents and then as Christians. It is not easy this end time. This one is 14, but I have met a 13-year-old girl who came to deliver at Kwalebu. When the baby came and the placenta was coming, he jumped. That's an animal by my female saber. So, in fact, it's dangerous when we think of these days what is happening. We need to talk to them. I know most of them will not listen because the media and then the so-called whatever it is teaching them. We need to intensify prayer and talk to them in our homes too. The home that forms the cell, most of them are broken. Who takes care of the lordship? So please, it's all our duty. We have the desire, not only on the cervical cancer, but to share health. We want to live long and take care of ourselves and our generation to come. So that is why we have taken it upon ourselves to go around and let the people know what is happening. Let's check ourselves. Let's make Susu to check ourselves. Put penny there. I have now they said a container, they have a philosophy, every coin must go into that container. So at the end of the year, you get something out of that container. Don't go and take the bigger one, the 2 cedis and then the 1 cedi and spend them. But at the end of the year, 22 cedis, 2 cedis, you get money for your screening. And then reduce the data or the, what do you call it? The credits we buy on our phone. Please, sir, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, my own is suggesting concerning about Madam Yon. I hope you'll be giving that opportunity to you people to try and then choose one day so that if you can come here and then do the test for the woman, it will be very good. Because as he said it, it's happening. This test is very serious, so I prefer if you take upon yourself so that the church will organize one day for you people so that you can come and do the test here.
Thank you very much. My church, we organized and brought some people in to screen the women for us. When we did that, we had one woman. You know, the thing is down there. Not Nation has kept it for very long, so we detected it. So I'm happy you have a health team, and you have a leader of the health team. So if they can do that and call us in, we'll come. So the health team is in your courts. We take health insurance. Yes, Ghana, not the foreign one, Ghana one. We take the national one and others. Those who have the private insurance, some of them we do take. Oh, now we are taking health insurance. We are taking health insurance.
Oh. Maybe just follow up. Let me clarify. For attending hospital there, my understanding is that you don't accept health insurance.
Oh, now we are taking. We have started. At the beginning of the year, we started taking health insurance.
Okay, that's interesting. But then there was an earlier question, the screening. Can men come for the screening? No, what is it, HP?
The HPV.
Yeah.
HPV.
Should men also come, or is it just women?
So the HPV is a DNA test. So you can do a blood test, but a lot of research has not been done on men when it comes to the HPV virus. So we don't see people coming in to do the test. But if you come in, we will not stop you because it can happen to anybody. Yes. But not the visual inspection with acetic acid. That one is only for women because it's only a woman who has the cervix. But with the DNA test to see if you have the virus or not, that one you can do it for anybody. Okay.
I'll add a little to it. Not off per se. With the men, their prostate. We didn't talk about prostate. It's a whole topic. So if any man above 40 can also walk in and come and do your PSA. We call it PSA, prostate. Give me the full name. It's called PSA. It's a test to determine whether there's a gene in the prostate if there's a problem with it. So you can also walk in when you are 40 years. So that one prevents prostate cancer. It's a whole topic. But the men after 40, let's screen ourselves, please. Any question? Thank you very much. It's been very interactive. Thank you for your attention. And thank you for your time that you gave to us. God bless you.
Thank you, Auntie Anna and Peace. We've learned a lot. Thank you so much for coming and spending your afternoon with us. Any final questions? Okay. So thank you again for coming, and God bless you. We will rise and sing hymn 633 to end this session.
Sing his mercy and his grace in the mansions bright and blessed. You prepare for us a place when we all get to heaven. What a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see Jesus. We'll sing and shout the victory. While we walk the pilgrim pathway, clouds will overspread the sky. But when traveling days are over, not a shadow, not a sigh, when we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see Jesus. We'll sing and shout the victory. The last stanza. Onward to the prize before us, soon his beauty will behold. Soon the pearly gates will open, we shall tread the streets of gold. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see Jesus. We will sing and shout the victory.
Let's please have our seats. We'll have Vesper now.
Happy Sabbath once again. The Lord is good, and all the time.